Hello, anatomy students. We are back. Let's talk about the motor functions of the cerebrum. So once again, I want you to concentrate on the central sulcus and make sure that you're labeling all of the different parts of the cerebrum properly. On slide, this goes under slide 18 on your paper. And so the central sulcus, again, is going to be our landmark, and anterior to that, you have the primary motor area. Anterior to that is the premotor area, and then the pink area is the anterior association area, or sometimes it's called the prefrontal cortex as well. In this part, you're going to see different places that are known for handling working memory and judgment, as well as problem solving and even some language comprehension. So normal movements are going to require many parts of our nervous system to work together. So the prefrontal area, also known as the anterior association area, is like the planner. Like they're going to select the appropriate plans for voluntary movement to occur. The premotor area is going to organize that movement. And then the primary motor cortex is the area that actually like sends out the action potentials to make our muscles contract and move. So the way that I like to think about these is that like going from like anterior back towards the central sulcus is that the prefrontal area is like the wedding planner. Like they are the one, they don't do the work itself, but they're the ones that are selecting the venue, the band, helping with the menu, where are you going to get the cake from? So like they're planning the whole thing. But they are not the ones with boots on the ground. That's the premotor area. That's like the maitre d' at the restaurant or at the venue where the wedding is taking place. And the premotor area is going to organize the movement sequences. And so just like the boots on the ground person at the wedding is going to select the servers and the ushers or anybody else that needs to be there in order to make sure that the guests are all comfortable and that everything runs smoothly. But the primary motor cortex, those are the ones that are actually doing the serving and doing the dishes and, making sure, setting up the tables and the place settings. So the primary motor cortex is actually doing the work. It's the one that's like taking all the plans from the premotor area and executing them by sending action potentials to our skeletal muscles. So the flow of motor information through the brain is a little bit different than the flow of sensory information from the brain. So the prefrontal cortex is going to plan, and then information moves on to the premotor cortex and then to the primary motor cortex. And the reason why I say it's different is that for sensory information, that is going to first, like the general sensory information is going to first enter the primary sensory cortex. It's going to enter the post-central gyrus, and then it moves on to the association area. Here it's different. The association areas are going to get the information first for motor stuff, and then it's going to move on to the primary. So it's a little bit backwards. All right, so integrative functions are all events that occur between receiving sensory stimuli and sending out motor impulses. So there are a couple of other things that are going to happen besides just, information in, motor function out. This is going to include consciousness and mental activities of all kinds, like remembering and feeling. And sometimes they're not directly related to the sensory inputs. So the integrative functions involve something called consciousness, and consciousness is regulated by something called the RAS, the reticular activating system. Consciousness is simply an awareness of oneself and their environment. And it's going to be regulated by a cluster of neurons that are found in the brainstem. And so let me move myself here so that I'm out of your way. But you can see that the RAS, also called the reticular formation, is highlighted in purple in the brainstem. And so it's just this diffuse collection of neurons. It's going to be responsible for the arousal of the cortex. Like I mentioned, it's crucial for consciousness. It's involved in the sleep-wake cycle. And it's really important for filtering which stimuli actually reach the cortex. So like any repetitive or weak signals, like maybe, feeling the feeling of your clothes on your skin, like you might feel it at first when you put them on, or but then as the day goes on, it's like you don't really feel them anymore until maybe like a tag is like scratching the back of your neck or something like that, and then you realize like, oh, that's uncomfortable, and then you kind of you have consciousness, you have awareness of the clothes against your skin, but you don't all the time, and that's because of the RAS. It's going to filter out the stuff that's not important so that only the important things are going to reach the cerebral cortex. And that's a really important thing, because we would be exhausted if we were responding to every single piece of sensory information that was coming into our brains every single day. And that is all for this part of the lecture, you guys. I hope you enjoyed something. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that you learned something. And I will see you next time. So long, guys.